Hey there, YouTubers. Brad here with another video as promised. Chris is officially in competition prep mode for a powerlifting meet in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So this video, as well as the next few, will feature some of the programming that I made for him and some tips that can help you prepare for competition. In the background, you're going to see some of my list from last week. These are all from Friday, since last week was awful for me, but more on that later. So Chris is working fives this week with bench, squat, and deadlift. Unfortunately, we don't have the squats on video, but I do have the other couple days. He's down to a four-day-a-week program that I made for him. So if you want that, just message me. But here he is benching. He ended up going a little bit higher than what I prescribed for him, which is good. Starting to get into those really heavy lifts. And then you see him doing some doubles, training lockout and explosiveness with the bands and the board, which is a weakness for him. So that's what I gave him for his accessory work, and you're going to see that in a bit after you see this set. One thing you will notice is Chris is starting to keep his butt down on the bench more. That's exactly what we're looking for. On the last few reps, on the last couple sets, he is coming up a little bit, but that's a fix for later. Next, you're going to see his deadlift coming up. It's his favorite lift. Why? I mean, it's Chris. He's always dominated pulling heavy weight off the floor. And even though he eats bud and does sumo, you know, kidding. Sumo does have a lot of negatives, including practical functionality, which I'm against. But for competition and training, it's good to implement it. It's also great to use as an accessory lift. And of course, if you can lift something heavier doing sumo, why not compete that way too? So for his accessory work for deadlifting, it was very similar to what I gave him for bench. I broke out those heavy bands for him and wanted him to increase that speed. Chris doesn't do a lot of plyometric or power work, so before competition, I'm having him work on that. You don't want to estimate the power of speed in plyometric training, especially as an accessory lift. I promise that it does translate over into those heavy lifts like the one that you're seeing here with Chris, especially when you're bracing and your form is tight. He had a great deadlift bar, especially right here. His form looked great. This is one of the best lifts of the week for him, so proud of him for doing that. And just in a second, you're about to see those bands get busted out. As with my lifting, last week was a really bad week for me. I ended up taking 3 days off for countless reasons. But my lifts here are Fridays when I finally got back to it. And then in just a second, right after his deadlifts, you're going to see what I did today. I ended up doing some snatch work for my kind of warm up. I'm getting back to my heavy programming that I did at VMI when I was heavy into powerlifting. Though I'm not competing anytime soon, I'm looking at maybe competing in the late winter, early spring. I do want to get back to the training that I know and love. So here's a couple different views of my snatch. My hamstrings are very, very tight today, and that's a lifestyle change kind of thing. I've been doing a lot of sitting down and studying, mostly because school hasn't started yet for me, and the only coaching and training that and work that I'm doing outside of training exists with personal training. So I don't have a lot of hours. I'm not up and moving a ton. And that's something that will get fixed. It was discouraging me at first, but you know, I felt pretty good. I ended up snatching my body weight, which is what you just saw right here. And then I had heavy pulling and benching today, some small off bench. I had 6 sets of 6. And for pulling, I did 12 total sets of 2. And this weight is just above 420. Those plates are a little bit more than 45 each. And the bar is a little bit more than 45. I went and measured it. So you see me here doing conventional and sumo. I did do 6 sets of both, so 12 total sets of 2. And one thing you do see, I haven't done sumo in months, and I am very, very forward. I wasn't on my heels as much, and I was not pulling back, and you could tell because my shins aren't bleeding all over the bar. So that's one thing I do need to fix in my programming, and you see that with these few lifts right here. I just wanted to show y'all a couple, not all 6. So here they are. And then in a second, you're about to see the bench press work. Just one set that I did. All of them had about the same speed. I did do 6 sets of 6 with 230 pounds. 7 more pounds than I was prescribed for small off. So that's going well. I'm in small off junior week 3. So we'll see how the PR goes in a few weeks.
going on YouTube? Brad here with a little bit of an instructional video. This is going to help mobilize you for a squat, but you can also do it after squat workouts. Really engage those glutes and those hips. You see I have a hip circle, an X heavy band just above my knees. I have a 25-pound plate. I'm only using a 25 because earlier I went to the 45-pound plate to warm up for my squats. This is after my workout, so I'm just doing this as post-workout kind of recovery. So the first thing you want to do is get into a nice squat stance like so. Usually about shoulder width or just wider. If you need to point your toes out, you can, but you do want to work on getting those toes pointed forward and getting that glute and hip mobility in there, that ankle mobility as well. So whether you're a power lifter or an Olympic lifter, this is a great skill to use because what you can do is practice driving your knees out, stand on those heels, and your hips back. Whether you're doing an Olympic lifting style squat where it would be a high bar and you go more quad dominant squat like so you can go ass to grass, or if you're doing a more powerlifting type squat where you're going wide and you're using mostly hips, breaking parallel and then coming up. This is a great way to do that. I'm going to do it one more time for you from the front. And a powerlifting one. I'm a little tired, so as you can see, driving my knees out isn't coming immediately, but that's something that I can work on before and after a workout, is using this band to really drive my knees out, use that external rotation of the hips, like so, get more power out of it. This is a great thing to do when you're warming up. It's not going to really hinder your squats at all, so long as you don't do a lot of volume. Another thing that you can use to warm up the squats, took off the band, so bear with me. I do this too, especially for those of you who have a competition coming up, just like Chris. This is what I would advise him to do, is glute bridges with this band. So how you do that is you lay down like so. Your knees are already being driven out, just like so. And when you come up, you drive them out even more as you squeeze your glutes, squeeze your core and engage that core and come down. Just like that. You want to keep those hips engaged, those glutes engaged. Those are powerful muscles and a lot of people often neglect using them in the squat and in the deadlift. I recommend using this kind of warm up for both a squat and a deadlift. It will help you out in the future. Anyway, YouTube, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. If y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, or any special workout challenges or videos that you want me to do, leave it in the comments section below. Shoot me a message, an email, whatever you want, and I'll be there for you. Shout out to Extreme Rush Apparel for the new stuff. Guys, these are the most comfortable squat pants I've ever had. I love squatting in pants. What I love about these is they've got a band right here that's a little bit tighter so you can roll them up, kind of like man capris, whatever. But I like them. Guys, full mobility, they're really comfortable. They're made to work out in, they're made to make sweat in, so be sure to check them out. My discount code BA15 for 30% off. Be sure to use it, and see y'all next time.